So a lot of
Hmm.
this podcast focuses a lot on branding, building your personal business, your personal brand online, and also building your business online.
Yeah.
And we can see more and more that AI is becoming deeply embedded in terms of all marketing and communications. And when we look at entrepreneurs and leadership roles being very creative, how can we
Hmm.
see it enhancing that creativity? But do you also feel like there are risks where it maybe strips away that originality or maybe the emotional connection that brands have with their audience?
Yeah, I think there's certain things that AI does very well. Trend analysis, accelerating insights, and being able to have access to those insights really quickly. I think personalization at scale becomes a lot more achievable through AI. But I think what it lacks is the ultimate strategy. We've across our agencies, we've not had any kind of reduction in headcount or redundancies due to AI. They're all very people-based businesses, and that's something that we want to continue. And I think it's quite easy to do a lot of experimentation without
Mhm.
stepping back and thinking about the strategy. So when we're engaging with brands directly, we're advising them on that. I think the challenge is, from a procurement perspective, we're seeing that brands are under pressure to tell procurement leaders how they're cost saving through AI. What efficiencies are we gaining through AI? So they've got this pressure on them to be adopting it and to be using it to lower costs mainly. But actually, that's not always a great outcome for the brand itself or for the audience that they're trying to engage with. So we see different versions of that across, podcast production to brand strategy, creative communications, different different ways that brands are pushing us to experiment. But we always come back to the strategy, and we always back up any insights that we gain through AI with some solid judgment that comes from our internal teams. So that's kind of how we handle it. But it's a constantly evolving
Yes.
topic, as you know.
Yes,
Yeah.
for sure. I think especially with marketing, there's a lot of great ways you can use it as a tool, but there is that human element that I think is always so important in marketing. I think AI can help you with, like you mentioned, deciphering data, looking through things like that, maybe spotting some trends, but it's not
Yeah.
until you have a real person coming up with the strategy or actually stepping into the role that can help your company expand upon it. I think there is definitely a push right now to streamline things using AI, and there are some ways I feel like it's helpful. But I always say too, especially on this podcast, like you need you need to be the one to come up with the creative idea. AI can help you with streamlining some of it and help you kind of and look at it from that perspective. But more and more, I think people are catching on to with like AI content or um, it's once you remove that human perspective, I think that's something people are going to crave a lot more of. So I think we're starting
Yeah.
to kind of see that shift, which is really interesting, especially when it comes to like business and scaling. And, people want to use it to grow their business, which is great, but it becomes really obvious to the audience pretty fast if you're using it too often.